Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You can, hey, seriously, you can call if
We're
you need
live.
anything.
We're live.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's frustration. It's trying to get things all leveled out and balanced, and you get hiccups, and it's frustrating, man. All right, I think we're live everywhere. Let's just stay for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Play some music. And be right back. Give me 1 minute. Test. Can you hear me okay, buddy?
Lima Charlie.
Cool. Sorry for the late start, folks. Facebook has been having a serious problem with connecting. Make sure, are we good on Rumble? Good everywhere? Leroy, is anyone sending anything on chat that they're not able to connect?
No. So far, everyone is replying with just howdy, and everything is looking okay.
All right, we got 51. All right, folks, we're going to get into pre-show. We'll be right back.
It's Red Friday. RED Friday, which stands for Remember Everyone Deployed. A movement designed to honor veterans and deployed U.S. troops by wearing a red shirt every Friday. As simple as that may be, Red Friday is a great way to back those who serve our country. Go to DUMShow.com and search for Red Friday to get your red on.
Oh, I forgot to turn it up. Damn it.
This is the Don't Unfriendly Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What is going on, everybody? Sorry, allergies are horrible, and I think I'm getting Olivia's thing. They were bad most of the day and still not doing very well. So no, not sick, but definitely got the scratchy shit. Liv, how are you?
Much better. Thing with me is I had no symptoms. I just lost my voice. That was it. Everyone at work was like, "Are you sure you're okay to work?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I just have no voice."
It's the weirdest.
So it's now a sexy, raspy kind of Donald Duck kind of thing going on.
It's
right
doing
now
it for
in
me. I'll just say it.
It's
Jeez.
Then again, I've always had a thing for James Earl Jones too. So let's not get too far.
and Idris Elba.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
he's pretty hot. Yeah, he's
I
pretty
just
hot.
watched movies today.
So want to walk through this with everybody tomorrow morning. I want to apologize for being late. Truly, we will probably go ahead and extend a little bit of the show for tonight, but definitely Facebook did what it did the other night, and it was not able to start. So therefore, we had to cut everything down, delete it all, and then put it back on. I want to make sure we're up on all channels, Liv. If we could stop typing for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's find out if we're up on all channels first, please.
Okay.
There's confirmation that from one of the viewers who said that Rumble was up. So
Okay, good. Rumble's up, YouTube, everything else.
YouTube, Facebook. I'm going on Spreely and Twitter right now.
Yeah, let's just check it. Make sure everything. Whoa, that's too big. That's what she said. Make sure everything's up before we get started.
Twitter is up.
Why is it doing that? Weird. Here, I'm going to move that over. That's why. And that goes there. There we go. All right. So give everyone a quick heads up.
I think we're on channel 2 on Spreely tonight.
Why are we on 2?
We're on 2. I'm not sure, but we're on 2. The last couple times we've been on 2.
It's my fault. It's my setting. I messed up the setting. So I've got to put it on channel 1.
Got it.
And make the stream come from 2. All right. So we're green?
Yeah, we're green on
all right.
everything that I've got up.
So everybody, real quick, I want to explain a couple things because a lot of people are going to the DUM Club, and we've got a lot of people who have subscribed, and they're trying to, and today we launched the emails. Let me turn the follow and like and share off real quick, just because I don't want it to be in the way of everybody. Hold on. And that goes there, and that goes there. Okay, so turn that off. So I'll give you guys the run through. Pretty simple. You can see our menu here, which is for the main page. So you can either go to the dumclub.com or go to the dumshow.com. But if you click the DUM Club, you're right. This shit's horrible. Little bit of raising the voice and getting frustrated before the show, and my voice is gone. So whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It started on, what was it, Tuesday? And it just kind of progressed throughout the day. And then I woke up with no voice on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's
Whatever it
definitely
was,
Not a clue.
it's progressing quick because just yesterday Matt sounded great, and today I can hear it in his voice. It's way scratchier.
Yeah, it's just, you know, and I don't feel sick at all. I feel fine. So when you come in here, you're going to see there's a few things that have been added. Primarily right here, there's a log out button. Okay. So when you first come here to the DUM Club, this is what you're going to see. And you would click on the DUM Club from news. And now you're going to see log in and the DUM Club. So you'll see all this here. So after you go here and you sign in and select your plan, you'll get a pop-up and you can decide which plan you want. You'll come here and you will log in. And you will put in your password and you'll create your account. And spam detected. What? I don't know why that's doing that. It doesn't really matter. But you'll go ahead and log in. And then what that will do is it'll allow you to do a few things. The first thing is that you will get all the ads off of the articles, number one. It'll allow you to look at the event calendar. It'll allow you to participate in the Spreely group, all that. So if you're a part of the DUM Club and you haven't looked at your email, please do that right now and make sure you come in and sign up. And then tomorrow at noon, we're bringing all the DUM Club members together, and we'll be doing a conference over Zoom. And Olivia and I will be on that. Love to have you and all the members that are right here now, which we've got a growing list. It's getting bigger and bigger every day. That's what she says. Would love to have you guys on. So that's how that's done. Check your email. It shouldn't have went to spam, but if it did, simply go into your spam box and pull it on out. You'll be good to go. Does that make sense, everybody?
Sure do.
Great. Outstanding.
Hey, Thomas Austin just said the 135-year-old Oceanside Pier is up in flames.
Yeah, that happened yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
so Oceanside, the pier, it is 135 years old. It's like everyone thinks it's the biggest. It's not. There's actually a bigger pier. I think there's one in Florida, and Huntington might be bigger. But either way, was on fire, and it looks like one of the restaurants at the end caught, and it was on fire. So
Is that where's Oceanside?
California.
Okay.
You don't know where your family's from San Diego. How the hell do you not know where
Because
Oceanside is?
I'm from Montana, and
Yeah, but your family's from San Diego.
I visited there when I was like 7,
and
then
for our honeymoon,
yeah, but we went to SeaWorld. I mean,
which is in Oceanside.
I don't know that. I don't know. It's SeaWorld.
Holy
Gotta
shit.
get wet somewhere.
It's SeaWorld, California. I don't know what
Mel,
the name of the city is.
Mel, you do create your own login and password. Those emails, listen, everybody, Terry's working on this. You should have received your first email, which gives you all the login instructions. But because you guys signed up before we had everything finished, you guys are kind of grandfathered in, but you have to go create and reset and create your own password. He's working on that now. That should be in your box. You don't need that for the show tomorrow, but that is going to be coming to you tonight. You should have it by tomorrow. So just let me know if you're part of the club. Everything's coming together. You'll also be able to control your subscription from that login. So you can increase it to gold or decrease it or do whatever you want. There is one catch though. The gold club, if you decide over a 3-month period to lower it, you won't qualify for the quarterly box because that box is going to be worth quite a bit. So that's how that works. All right. My God. Seriously, man. I mean, it was like 5 o'clock tonight. It was scratchy. And you lost your voice in how long? 24 hours?
24 hours. Yeah. Just from the start of work on Tuesday, and people were like, "Oh, are you getting sick?" when I was talking. And then by Tuesday night when Izzo was on the show, I sounded like a prepubescent boy with the amount of voice cracks I had. Wednesday woke up with absolutely no voice. I could barely even whisper. Okay. And then yesterday morning I woke up and it was a little better. And today this is what I sound like. So I don't know.
Neva says, where are you from in Montana? She is from Cow Fork.
California. Northwest corner in a small town called Big Fork. It's about 100 miles north of Missoula.
Yes, of white salmon.
No, that's white.
White salmon.
You guys make fun of the towns.
Mike,
Kalispell, whitefish,
cow's bell,
big fork,
pig fuck.
yeah.
And
It's in the Flathead Valley, yes.
all the kids make fun of it. And then Timothy
Is there a
says,
train
what
station there?
I'm pretty sure,
there
but
is
I don't have a clue.
the train station is what he's saying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
wink.
yeah, that's Bozeman.
Little Montana. So Timothy says, what do you join, sir? It's called the DUM Club. And it allows you to just get behind the scenes stuff, get packages from us, and get ad-free exclusive content. You get to actually, if you're in Virginia or the surrounding area, anywhere, Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., we'll come out and meet you for breakfast, and you get an autographed picture. You get a video congratulating you on something, or maybe it's your birthday or an anniversary, or if you just want to say something to a friend, we'll post it on the site and then get a kick out of it. Little things like that. So it's thedumclub.com. Anyway, we have a show to get to, and we are very late. I mean, we're a half hour in. We haven't even done anything. So I apologize once again. Blame Facebook. They're usually the culprit in what's wrong. Let's get into it. Whole bunch to go over. I'm assuming you guys, did anyone watch Howard Stern?
No, I heard about it, but I didn't.
What did you hear about it?
I just heard that Biden was on it, and whatever we saw on the 5 when we were watching dinner. That's about it.
You're supposed to not do that. You're supposed to yeah, I heard about it when I was watching the. See, but when you say we, they know, right? They know that I know, and I just asked you, which completely ruins the whatever. I'm
genuinely surprised. Like, I have no idea what the hell happened.
Yeah. So Biden went on Howard Stern because he won't do a real interview. So he has to go ahead and go on a shill who hates Trump.
And some younger people listen to. Wink, wink.
Right. Yeah. The younger generation don't even know who Howard Stern is. Let me just preface this. Joe Biden has always been a liar. Okay. He's a plagiarist. He's a liar. He, in the 90s, with his first flirtation with the presidency, was literally just castigated out of the Democratic Party because he was such a shill. This guy has said, I'm actually going to do a show on it tomorrow as a bonus, because how do you want to save all these Hamas and Palestinian supporters? Well, send Joe Biden. He marched in the civil rights with Martin Luther King. So he should be able to stop this right now. This guy is full of shit. And he was on Howard Stern, and he told 4 of the biggest whoppers I've ever heard. Did you wear your hat today, Matt? Shit.
Now I got to know what these whoppers were. Generally speaking, back in the 90s, when what Matt is talking about, there's this amazing speech that he gives to a series of reporters. And in one of those speeches, like, this reporter challenges him, right? And when he does so, Biden snaps back and is basically like, well, my IQ is this, sir, and I graduated near the top of my class, and I'd love to debate you anytime you like, and it's really this obnoxious, condescending type speech. And then just a couple of weeks later, Tom Brokaw, of all people, got on, and at the time it was NBC, and broke down that entire piece to basically pick apart all of the lies, which was most of the speech. It's a fantastic segment. Watch it after the show.
Yeah. And you listen, even if you take and listen to his State of the Union, I did a pretty darn good show where I broke down every State of the Union for the last 3 that he's done, and he plagiarized himself through half of them. By the way, this hat was sent to me by Thomas, and it's got a deer on it, actually an elk. Yeah, the hair is beautiful today. Look at that. And I saw it says the Royal Canadian Dragoons, and sent that to me, and I can't thank you enough. It's a very cool hat. I wanted to get a haircut first, but lo and behold, that didn't take place. So let's listen to this and give it a listen. Here's the first one.
I learned a lot, and I made a lot of friends.
Did you ever save anyone's life when you were a lifeguard? Was anyone ever drowning?
Yeah.
Now, this is where a normal human being would say, you know what? I've got an opportunity here. And I could say yes, but I probably should say no. One, because it's the truth. And two, because I'm the president of the United States and I'll probably be judged on this later. But Joe Biden thinks that we're in 1950 where there's no way to check these things and there's no record of it. Because, folks, if you save a person's life, let me tell you something. I was at the Hungry Hunter in Ventura, California, and Olivia and I went there in Bakersfield before they closed. Ventura, California. My father was recently retired or about to retire from the fire department. He was a captain of Station 13 in Ventura. And he took a plank to the back in a fire. And we both had bad backs, obviously. My back caught up to me in the military. His was an accident. And because of spinal stenosis, because of degenerative disc disease, he was going to lose his back anyway. So was I. Anyway, so he retired from the fire department around that time. And a man sitting across in a brushed blue suit, polyester suit, as you can imagine, during that time in the 70s, who looked like Orville Redenbacher, was eating a steak and he started choking. And he visibly was dying, slamming his hands on the table. His wife of so many years was looking absolutely ecstatic and hoping that the life insurance was going to kick in. But his friends were trying to shake him, and they were literally shaking him to get him, which isn't helping. And my dad picked up his napkin off of his lap, wiped the corners of his mouth, dropped it on the floor. Marine Corps. Stands up, walks over there, puts the man underneath his armpit, raises him up with one hand, reaches around with him and gives him a Heimlich right into the solar plexus. And out comes the steak. And the restaurant applauds and stands on their feet as my father, the fucking hero. And I must have been 6. So this was right 79, so maybe 5. And this man, his life is saved. And my father's like, thank you. Sits down. The manager of Hungry Hunter, which was a 5-star restaurant at the time, comes over, buys us, brings out his best bottle of Chianti. My father's, no, I don't drink. He's like, oh, Captain America, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. And of course, the reason I bring this up is because the police were called and the ambulance was called. And a report was made. And that's what happens when you save somebody's life. Because the second thing that happens after you save their life is call 911 or call the ambulance. And that's goes on forever. Doesn't matter what it is. Even if there's a minor fender bender, the first thing they ask you is, do you need medical attention? So for Joe Biden to sit here and say that he saved 6 people in a pool as a lifeguard, and there is absolutely no record of that, because if you're a lifeguard and you're a young kid and you save 6 lives in a summer, do you think maybe somebody's going to do a newspaper report on it? Do you think you're going to get an award or maybe a key to the city in Rehoboth or Scranton? Right. Depends upon where you say you grow up and lie.
There's another element to that too. Both Matt and I work and have worked heavily in an area where you will come across somebody who is a legitimate hero at some point. And I don't care who it is. If you ask them, are you a hero? They will all say no. They will all say, nope, I did what I needed to do. I'm just a regular guy. Didn't do anything special. Right? They will not make that distinction between them and the people that they saved. They will not consider themselves heroes. Now, I say that to also contrast it. I have come across people who will say the exact opposite. I've saved lives. I've done this. I've done that. Generally speaking, sometimes it may be true. Sometimes, maybe, I don't know. But generally speaking, the people that I've come across that make those boastful type claims, generally you can raise an eyebrow and be a little skeptical of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not unlike the stolen valor kind of thing. Like, you know what the hell to look for. You know what to listen for.
Mm-hmm.
And to Matt's point, when something legitimate does happen, guess what? Emergency services will be called. So yeah,
and there will be an incident report. And if you're, like I said, if you're some 16, 17-year-old kid and you've saved 6 black lives, because let's face it, that was all that was in the pool, according to him, and they were roaches who rubbed. Lev,
Oh, jeez, I'm here.
are you even ready?
No, I haven't used the soundboard in so long.
Yeah, but you should always have the soundboard ready to go.
And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down, so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Yeah, that's not AI, folks. That's your president. Here's
Every time I hear it, it's just gross.
Here's the rest of the comment.
It so is.
Yeah, well, half a dozen times. Usually younger kids, but
You do the thing with the whistle and then jump in the bathing suit and
you got it.
no kidding.
Yeah, there's a big pool. There were 7 lifeguard stands.
Wow. See, that would define my. I would brag about that everywhere I went.
Well, by the way, I did it up in Lake Ontario too when I was in law school. But look, one of the things that
What, you saved a dude's life when you were in law school? You were still doing the lifeguard thing?
Lifeguards. I mean, people just need help sometimes. It's not like it's so heroic. I learned a lot.
You are so full of shit.
People just need help sometimes. That's what established me in the Democratic Party. Is that I just felt the need to. No, you're full of shit. Lying sack of shit.
I wonder what Howard Stern was thinking about when he was talking. Like, oh, really? You saved that money? He's probably thinking, "God, you're full of shit."
No, I don't think Howard. I think what Howard Stern was saying is, "Oh, this is great stuff. We need to lie more so we make Trump look bad because he's got TDS." Listen, there's a few things in life you always remember. You remember the first time you got your cherry popped and you had sex. Okay. Hands down. Sex is one of you know who it was, you know how bad it was, and everything else is weighed against that experience. You remember when you get married, you remember when your kids are born, you remember when you graduated from boot camp, you remember the people in boot camp, you remember who you went to A school with. There's some things you remember that you'll never forget. You remember the first time you lost a buddy?
Yeah.
These things, you don't forget saving a life. I can tell you and list them right now who I either assisted or impacted, and I won't, and I don't care because I don't want it. But I'll tell you, I remember every single one. And more importantly, I can tell you the people that I lost or tell you people I was responsible for not being able to save their life. And for him to sit here, I don't care how much dementia or out of... This is what dementia looks like.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like. It's not being able to remember, so you make shit up. Or you convince yourself something was true and you ultimately plug it in and your brain fills the gap. It's the same thing that happens in dreams. When your brain can't fill in that you're reading a book and you can't decipher the text because you can't read in your dream. You can't read in your dream. You can't see the letters. Has anyone tried to read a book in their dream and then it just comes out as nuance or just scrambled and it doesn't make any sense? Because reading in your dream, unless you have like a logo in your head like Coke, you can do that. But if you try to go ahead and go to page 327 in Huck Finn and read sentence 42, you're not going to be able to do that.
No, the best I've ever been able to scrape up is a good edition of Hustler.
Right, which completely makes sense. So the point being is that he's full of shit and his brain is absolutely filling in the gaps. And it's sad. It's a horribly sad thing. Let's listen to the next one because I wish I could tell you there wasn't more. But then I would be Joe Biden. Here's the next one.
I got put in that 10 most eligible bachelors list.
Because you were a United States Senator, you were a catch.
And so, and a lot of lovely women, but women would send very salacious pictures, and I just give them to the Secret Service. I thought somebody would think I was, and I just gave up.
Let me
I
help.
got put in that 10 most.
He just said he was on the 10 most eligible bachelors list. And not only that, that women would send him salacious pictures.
On what? His rotary phone?
Right.
It was scribed in papyrus, my lady.
If I'm not mistaken, it's like
How?
texting didn't come along until like 2005, 2006, somewhere in that area.
How?
A lot longer back then because they were busy chiseling it out of a chunk of granite in the mirror.
And let's be honest, you would take your nudies to Kodak and the Kodak shack
remember that?
right in front of Kmart, and you would drop off your film, and it was fine. You could put nudies in there. No big deal. Nobody ever asked. And then they started asking questions. Then they would dispose of the nudies. So you would come back, and I'd see my mom and dad going through their pictures, and all of a sudden they're like, they're not here.
Right.
And I didn't understand what was going on, but then I did. Once I became an adult, that they had nudies and Kodak would take them. So,
DJ.
and here's the next thing. Here's the next thing. You don't have Secret Service as a senator, even if you're on the Armed Services Committee, even if you're the Speaker of the House, even if you're the Majority Leader, Senate, House, legislation, you don't get Secret Service. Who did you give the pictures to? When you were a senator, he said he gave them to the Secret Service. Listen to this again. So not only do you have a bunch of lies, you have lies about the lie. I mean, this is an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a puzzle box.
I would send very salacious pictures, and I just give them to the Secret Service. I thought somebody would think I was, and I just gave up.
Oh my God. Listen, how much longer do we have to deal with this guy? I mean, does anyone actually believe that he was sent nudie pictures? I wish somebody had some pictures of him and his daughter in that shower. That would get rid of him pretty damn quick. And since she wrote about it in her journal, well, because it needs to be outed. It needs to be, listen, that's the only thing that would stop it, is because nobody's going to believe it. You can have all the proof in the world. The young lady said that she showered with her father, and at the age where she was having boyfriends. Does anyone think that that's 6 years old? No. Does anyone think that that's 3? According to the Krasstein, she can be 18 and shower with her father. But if she's dating, especially back then, 16, 14? Why is this guy not on trial? Why aren't they throwing his ass in jail? Why? Well, because they just released Harvey Weinstein. They have to go after the real criminals like Donald Trump.
For paying his
that
loans
actually,
back.
that raises a really good point, Matt, because today in the hearings and the arguments in front of the Supreme Court where they're trying to make that exact argument, should presidents be exempt from any political wrongdoings that they executed while in office, right? And if the Democrats do go after Trump that hard, right, and they're able to open that door and prosecute, that's a door that can never be shut. And you will have shit like this where in the future, maybe not Joe, because he'll be long gone by then, but certainly you can start looking at like Obama for the Fast and Furious thing. You're going to run into that kind of thing where it's going to end up changing the way presidents make decisions for fear of prosecution after the fact.
Right. And, and if anyone's like, oh, Matt, how could you be so... Thank you, Anon, $26.25. Appreciate the donation. That should put us over, puts us over $623.50, getting close to that $1,000 goal. If you are interested in helping, linktapgo.com/the DUM Show. I have also tagged it. It's in the main top of the link on Facebook. It's now a pinned comment, so you can click it there. I'm not being loosey-goosey with this. It should repulse people. But you know what? We sit here and window dress it. The left will be like, listen, it was a journal entry. It hasn't been validated. You said that shit about Hunter and the Russian laptop. It's Ashley Biden's diary. And if she says she's at dating age and she's showering with her father and she writes that in there, you have to assume it's not right if she's 6. It's not right if she's 8. It's not right if she's 10. It's not right ever. Because I can tell you, I have 2 children. I have never showered with my children. Ever. I didn't even bathe my daughter after like a year and a half, and I refused. And I never bathed my son.
Well, I wouldn't put you to that torture. It was seriously,
Right.
It sounded like I was killing a cat trying to wash her hair. She hated it.
But you know why? Is because of what I went through as a kid. I was never, ever going to ever put myself in a situation where it's not that anything would happen. It's that I just never wanted my children comfortable being around a man naked. Ever. And I expressed to them that it's never okay. There's never a situation that it's okay. Because that's an easy thing to go ahead and overcome. It's like, well, we're the nurse and we're trying to, change your daughter and she's screaming to the top of her lungs that she doesn't want to. Oh, that's okay. That's good. Well, we're trying to go ahead and examine her. Yeah, that's okay. That's an acceptable thing for me to go ahead and work through versus me getting the report from the police that she was sexually assaulted by some sick, deranged fucko. I would rather have my child say no to everyone and then go in and say, this is why she does it. And that's the way my family, we've always been. But Joe Biden absolutely needs to be held accountable for these questions need to be asked. Here's the next one.
And I looked at my mom. I
You can
said,
ask
go
away,
ahead,
but none of them will ever be answered. You do understand that.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Because here's why. Because there's going to come a time that he's going to die. There's going to come a time when he's going to be out of office. And I believe the skeletons of Joe Biden will be on full display because they did it. I know it doesn't matter now, but it will matter then because you can't get away with this shit forever. And look at Cosby. Cosby thought, you know what, I'm good. Ted Bundy probably thought I'm good. There's a lot of people throughout history where something comes out. Look at Puffy Combs. Look at P. Diddy. Look at these guys. And they're like, we're good. And they're not. It will out. And when it does, and he's no longer protected, and like Bill Clinton, once he left office, all the truth came out. All that Epstein stuff, everyone knew it, but it all came out after he left office. It'll come out. It won't matter then, but it'll come out. Or maybe it won't. Who knows? Here's the next one.
And I looked at my mom. I said, honey, you haven't said anything. She said, Joey, let me remember. True story. She said, remember when they were desegregating Linfield, the neighborhood? There was, 70 homes built at one suburbia. And I told you, and there was a black family moving in, and there was people who were down there protesting. I told you not to go down there, and you went down. Remember that? And you got arrested, be standing on the porch with a black family.
Right.
And they brought you back, the police. And I said, yeah, Mom, I remember that. And I looked at my mom. I said, honey, you haven't said anything. She said, Joey, let me remember. True story. She said, remember when they were desegregating Linfield, the neighborhood? There was,
Janet,
70
thank
homes
you.
built at one
Thank you,
suburbia.
We
And I
appreciate
told
it,
you, and there
Janet.
was a black-
Thank you very, very much. So let me get this straight, just so I can recap for everybody so we know, and then we'll comment. Joe Biden is in his neighborhood in Scranton or Rehoboth, one of the places. And because we don't know where he grew up. And there's little black children sitting on the patio. And Joe Biden comes down there and sits with black kids.
Right. Just randomly.
Just randomly.
Just some
comes
random
in.
family. I'm just going
Right.
to show up as this white dude on your porch. That all right with
Right.
you? You know?
Right. And then, of course, inside, the lady's like, who the fuck is this cracker? Right? And Joe Biden sits down and the police are called. Why? We don't know. But I'm sure it went something like this. Yeah, Randall? Yeah, Sheriff Randall, there's some whitey over here with some of them colored kids. Can you send a police officer and make sure that he doesn't turn colored too? Because we don't want it to rub off on them. Thank you so much. Is that what you think?
More likely, the poor family
God.
that he ended up on the porch of, he was
Called
probably
the
in the
cops.
bushes, and they called him to say, there's this weird white dude out front.
Or the black family called the police saying there's some white kid over here. And then all the black people were arrested. and Joe gets left alone. Explain to me why. Was this before or after you voted for busing colored people?
Right.
Was this before or after you decided that segregation against colored people was okay? Was this before or after that you used the term colored people like I'm using,
Well,
and
he
you didn't
said it was
fucking
a true
cringe?
story, so it's got to be a true story.
folks.
I mean, my goodness.
True story.
Let me tell you a true
Whenever
story
he
about the
says
time.
that, whenever he says it's a true story, folks. No, you're full of shit. You're lying. We can all see it.
Dude, this
You know,
guy,
it wouldn't shock me if the black family, if the house that he ended up outside of, if he will at some point in the next few months worth of campaigning, he's going to claim that was Kamala's house. He's going to
no, it was Clarence Thomas's house.
Yeah.
That's what he'll say.
Yeah.
And this is just how stupid
I was friends with
Joe
Clarence
Biden
Thomas.
is. We're not done. We got one more.
I got a question for you because everyone's
Well,
saying he
for
calls
example,
his
I
mom honey. Did I miss that?
Yeah, he calls his
No.
mom
Well,
honey.
for example,
I heard that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
Who calls their mom honey?
I don't know, but let's go
one.
ahead and let's walk through the total first. He saved 6 people from drowning. Lie. He received salacious pictures from women over the rotary phone.
On his rotary phone, yeah.
So he went like this and was like,
Right.
and then he's looking at it. He's like, ooh, she spelled loose.
She spelled booby.
She spelled booby. So from the 1970s, and he handed it over to the Secret Service detail that he didn't have. He was arrested as a kid while standing with a black family on their porch as people were protesting.
That's 4.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
And they were protesting desegregation in their neighborhood because a lot of white people lived in black neighborhoods back then. That's why desegregation was a problem, you fucking dipshit, because white people didn't live with black people. That's the whole point of your argument. You're saying that there's segregation, but you're telling me that black neighborhoods and white neighborhoods were intermixed back then? No. No, my friend. No. That's why they were protesting in your imaginary head segregation. Here's the last one.
but for example, I remember starting off playing Catholic League football, CAA football.
By the way, I don't think a lot of people know that you were a star receiver in high school.
In high school.
Receiver. You were like the first string guy. You were the guy who caught the ball.
Runner up in state, scoring.
catch- sure.
Wow.
But I was a run. But for example, I remember starting off playing Catholic League football, CAA football.
By the way, I don't think a lot of people know that you were a star receiver in high school.
In high school.
Receiver. You were like the first string guy. You were the
Yeah.
guy who.
I'm trying to stop it. Sorry. It doesn't allow me to. Holy crap. I'm a little confused.
He was like Tom Brady. He was like Tom Brady back in the day, right? Uncle Joe Biden, the star receiver. Come on.
Does anyone actually believe this crap?
I don't believe anything he ever says.
This is ridiculous. I mean, how does he keep getting away with this? Remember what they did about Trump is that they said he lied like 37,000 times.
Yeah.
And they had this ticker. Where's his ticker?
Right.
That's what I want to know. Thomas,
Thank you very much.
$51.99. Thank you, Thomas. We're up to $706.89, folks. That's amazing. About $294 and $293 shy of 1,000. Thank you so much. Keep it up. We appreciate you. It all helps, folks. It takes care of us. The end of April is almost here. And remember, if you're in a situation where you've got your mom, dad, brother, sister, kids, wife taken care of, you got the summer vacation set, all that, you've donated to your local veteran charity, and you've got a little bit extra, and you want to, it's burning a hole in your pocket, you can throw it to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We'll make sure we put it into a good spot.
Sorry. I love you. Yeah.
Joe Biden. I don't have much else to say on this. I really don't. And I can just say this. If he thinks that any of this is getting through, let me just help you with what's happening. He's trying to relate to the youth.
Yep.
Of being this big civil rights guy. The youth, they're not relating to him. And they're sick of it. I'm going to show you why in a second, because of the blatant, just utter failure of the American dream. It is no longer a dream, it's a nightmare. And that's the truth. United States is no longer the best country in the world to start a family and raise a family. And unfortunately, that's accurate. And we have no one else to blame but the US. Now, does it mean that you can't prosper here? Does it mean you can't? No, but the middle class is the smallest it's ever been since the Great Depression. The middle class is continuing to shrink. And more people are going into the lower class than ever before. And the happiness level of Americans is the lowest it's been. You're finding countries like Sweden, Finland, Denmark have a higher happiness rating than us, and they pay a large tax, but they are happier than us. Now, they also go ahead and do not have some of the issues that we have as far as the impoverished neighborhoods. They go ahead and look at their children and decide abortion is okay if the child has Down syndrome or a possibility. They have some very draconian style laws to keep their society where it needs to be. But the happiness level of the people are at a certain clip that the United States is struggling with. Joe Biden is trying to relate to women. That's not necessarily going to happen. Whether Donald Trump did this with Roe v. Wade or not, this is on his watch. And they're not going to sit here and say he's the Supreme Court, but they're going to say, what have you done about it?
Right.
As the leader of the Democrat Party, why haven't you codified this? Why haven't you proposed this as an amendment? Why haven't you rallied the states to propose an amendment for Roe v. Wade? They're going to ask these questions. And you're trying to relate to black people by saying you went down on a porch as they were all arrested for protesting and you were the only one that wasn't arrested. That doesn't make you look white, like a white Jesse Jackson or a Martin Luther King. It makes you look like the racist you've been your whole life, you asshole, because you eulogized 4 Klan members. You have said some of the most racist shit I've ever heard come out of a person's mouth who is in public office, including that black kids are just as bright as white kids. Talking about how you should like Obama because he's a clean black man. Oh, geez. This isn't a joke,
That's
people.
So
this is true.
That's what he said.
You should like Barack Obama because he's clean. He's clean,
You know,
folks.
That raises a really good point, which is that the harder he tries to connect with the younger audience, but he still has these gaffes when he's giving these speeches, when he's giving these interviews. And either it's pretty obvious that there's some level of lying. Like, you may not have picked up on all 10 lies. You may not have picked up on 5 of them. But if you're picking up on 30% of the lies, that's enough to raise an eyebrow and go, ugh, like I'm getting a slimy feeling, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if these interviews, to some degree, even though he's trying to connect and is trying to solidify a particular demographic, I'm wondering if it's actually working against him because of the crazy shit that he says.
Yeah, I messed up. It's not just clean. It's clean, well-dressed, and articulate.
Yeah. I remember that.
Listen, as a black man, it's amazing seeing him without a piece of chicken and grape soda in his hand after he's ready to chomp on some watermelon.
Great drink, by the way.
Are you kidding me? What a racist fuck. I mean, who gets away with that? Can you imagine if Donald Trump said, listen, I have my problems with Obama, but at least he's clean, he's articulate.
Right.
And he dresses somewhat normal. God. This is the type of guy that, like, he's going to put a Congressional Medal of Honor on the first woman ever. And as he's putting it on there, says, well, we should have gotten a bigger ribbon. Your tits are way too big for
or
this
he's
thing.
going to smell her hair.
Right, your tits are so big. I can't fit this around your chest.
He will make that awkward movement to place it correctly as it lays between her breasts, Like he'll you need to creep.
Here, let me adjust that for you.
Oh my God. This guy.
Can we add honorable mention for Uncle Bozy in that list, please?
Yes, Uncle Bozy. I mean, and if you haven't listened to the Uncle Bozy story, geez.
Ambrosia Roja Bozy. What was his name?
Dude, somebody sent me Thank you,
Thank you,
Deborah.
Deborah.
You're amazing. Thanks, Deborah. So someone sent me a memes on this, and it's the Chick-fil-A chickens, or the Chick-fil-A cows, and it says they're holding up signs. And it goes, there's three of them. It goes, eat more, and then the third person says, Uncle Brosy.
That's good.
It's so. Oh man, I had one on Twitter. Hold on, see if I can find it real quick. You know what? I think I've got it. Hold on. This shouldn't take long. But yeah, this guy lies. That's all he does. And when 73% of the country says the following, that they would consider not voting, highly consider, or more than likely consider not voting for Joe Biden if they would have known about the laptop and the Hunter Biden story. Here it is.
Oh, that is good.
Uncle Bosie's barbecue seasoning made in New Guinea.
You to rub that meat.
Some guy came on. He was so pissed, so angry at me. He's still going on. He's like, "You're a Trump sucking orange tard." He's like, "Papua New Guinea. I was a pilot back in World War II," and I'm like, "No, you weren't." He's like, "Yes, I was." I'm like, "What squadron?" Bro, if you're alive in World War II, you're pushing.
That would make that guy at least
105. 105. Not 90. Those days are done. I don't think there's any 90-year-olds left, bro, unless you got in when you were 12.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, God, it's 2024. What was the end of World War II? What year?
1941.
41, yeah. So 41. So you're talking 59
wait.
plus.
No, it ended.
No, 41 is when they hit Pearl Harbor. So 43.
Yeah. It's like 43.
So you're looking at 61 plus 24. There's no fucking way.
Well, I'm thinking about my grandfather. He was a Marine in World War II, and he passed in 2006, and he was 82 when he passed. So that would make him, he'd be 100 right now. Yeah.
I told you.
Still alive.
It's like 105. Yeah, you'd have to be 12. Yes, this is it. Became the youngest World War II soldier at the age of 12 and the youngest recipient of the Purple Heart. Went in World War II at 12 years old. 12 years
He's got
old.
balls.
He doesn't have any hair on his balls.
God.
Yeah, but and
that's like almost Ethan's age.
There's another guy who's 14. So he went in at 12, won the medal at 14. Went in 2 years before anyone recognized. Yeah, you got to be 100 plus, 105.
Oh, yeah.
There's just no way. Yeah. So 41 was when they hit December Pearl Harbor. So yeah, end of World War II is either 44 or 43, I think, right?
Yeah.
End of.
Everyone's saying 45, 46.
Because it might be 45, 46. I agree. Because Japan wasn't that. It was 45. I'm almost positive it was 45. Because Japan didn't surrender until I think it was 4 Christmases. So that would be 1945, September 2nd, 1945. That's correct. Because I remember this because in the story with the Marine Corps in Guadalcanal with John Wayne, he talks about, I've been here for 4 Christmases. So that's where I remember it from. You gotta love old John Wayne movies.
The fact of the matter is, folks, the dude lies. That's really the takeaway from that segment, is that Joe Biden is a habitual liar.
I wish I could make it any less complicated than that is, and that's not complicated at all, and that's the truth. That's exactly it. Next segment, folks. We're gonna do one that Olivia probably will have a little bit more to say in. And when I made the comment about America, I truly mean it. I don't know if America is the greatest country in the world anymore. It certainly is for our generation, but this younger generation, I don't know if it's going to be for them because they can't even buy a car. Right now, if you want to go buy a vehicle, even used, you're looking at $750 as the national average for a used car. When I was younger, a used car was like $186 a month for a freaking $12,000, $13,000 car. Now, $750. A new car, national average is $1,200 a month, and that is with insurance included. Give me a break.
That's because of this huge push to make everything electric, and now they have to pack all of the additional safety equipment onto these things and the sensors and the computers, and it's the government that is basically mandating this from Ford and GM and Toyota, all of these companies. All right, you will have X number of safety features, you will have airbags in the front, you will have a backup camera now, and all of this shit adds up. So you cannot buy a 1957 Chevy like you could back in the day, fix a thing with a screwdriver and be on your way. No, now
Right.
you need a software engineer and 12 hours at the Toyota dealership.
You need a Cray 2 supercomputer is what you need from Langley.
In 2020, where we didn't
I want to
have
be really clear. Now, I apologize that I found two attractive girls. That was not my intent. Okay. I went through and did, yeah, I know, but that looks a little weird. You think there is a guy, but his story sucked. And we already watched it a couple of weeks ago.
She's a blonde. I know you're not much.
I'm not into blondes. And also I could be her father, for God's sakes. Enough.
That's the problem. Yeah. Same.
That's the problem. I don't care that she's a blonde. It's that I could be her father. But I want you to listen to this, because these two young ladies make some interesting points, and you guys tell me what you think. Here it is. By the way, the donations have been incredible. Thank you guys for coming
really
through.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're really close to our goal for the end of April, and you have done so well. So thank you for your help with that. We really appreciate it. Here's the video.
So USC just canceled our graduation.
This is so sad. This pissed me off beyond reproach, because just listen and you could just see it in her face. This is like my kid. This is like my daughter. She pushed through school. She didn't want to. She realized she knew more than the teachers at 12 years old. She was sick of learning the same shit over and over. She was disenfranchised, but she did it anyway. She went ahead and did the volunteer program. She took the college courses. She checked the boxes, played her sport, did her freaking theater. She did all those things in order to be an amazing member of society. And this is what the government does to her. Listen to this.
Really, I have no words. Like, this is so, like, it's actually comical at this point. If you don't know, the seniors that are graduating college right now are the seniors that graduated in 2020, where we didn't have a high school graduation, and a lot of us had like drive-through fake graduations or no graduation at all. And now we are seniors about to graduate, getting ready for our first real graduation, and it just got canceled.
Oh.
I literally just I just can't even, I'm in shock right now. We as a whole senior class have never had a real graduation because of COVID first, which we thought was like a one-time thing, like we're the class that got screwed over. It is what it is, unlucky. Now USC just canceled it. And of course USC, we've all worked so hard to get here. USC, I'm sure you know, is not an easy school to I understand that, we understand this is disappointing. Never even got a high school graduation either. Here's the part of the email right there that says, as a result, we will not be able to host the main stage ceremony that traditionally brings 65,000 students, families, and friends to our campus at the same time and during a short window from 8:30 to 10 a.m. We understand this is disappointing bullshit. Like, come on. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would graduate high school and not have a graduation, get into USC, go all 4 years at USC and not have a graduation, I would have been like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. But it happened, and now this is all of our seniors' lives. So, this sucks. I mean, this sucks. I just had my last class ever, and right after I should be celebrating, just got the news that we have no graduation. So, now all my roommates are depressed, and we all literally were just sitting in the living room, like, in tears, but not much we can do about it, so we're gonna make the most of it, but ridiculous.
So
why did they cancel?
Yeah, well, why do you think they canceled? What's going on college campuses all over the U.S. right now?
Oh, the riots and the Palestine.
The Hamas supporters. Okay, come on. It has nothing to do with Palestine. It's Hamas, okay? It's so stupid. It's like 9/11. 9/11 happens. We're supporting freedom fighters. We're supporting freedom fighters. That's from 9/11. Yeah, freedom fighters. No, terrorists. So it just bothers me. I know what you guys are saying. Yes, it's Palestine. That's the cover, but they're supporting the death of Jews. That's what they are enjoying. And anyone who says they're not, the hypocrisy. When were you rioting and protesting on October 6th? When did it start? October 8th. Okay, then you're celebrating Hamas. You don't care about Palestinians, because if you did, you would have said this occupation long ago. By the way, point Palestine out on a map. Anyway, you can't. So the problem that I have with this is these kids spent in this class, okay? What is the annual student body, Olivia, for USC? Please look it up.
Okay.
How many kids are at USC at one given time? Watch this. I'm going to blow your mind.
Okay.
Mind-blowing time. I should have done this beforehand, but I just thought of it.
Fall of 2023, total enrollment was 47,000 students.
Angel, don't put in. Don't do that, Angel. This isn't the type of show for that. If you come up with something original, you don't copy and paste somebody else's work. I can't stand that. It's not personal, but don't muck up the thread. Seriously.
I can appreciate it, but don't do that, hon.
Yeah, it's just there's no point. You're too smart. You don't need to do that. Your own words are just good enough. You're a very intelligent young lady. Put it in there. Okay. So how many?
47,000 is what it said.
47,000 students? No,
Yeah.
no.
As of fall 20, USC student population, as of fall 2023, the total enrollment was about 47,000 students, which includes both
online.
undergraduate and graduate students.
And online. Okay. So let's just take 47,000 and let's just say annually it's $40,000 per year, which it's not. It's 10 times more than that, but let's just go ahead and say.
Do you want me to look it up how much USC?
Yeah, go ahead. Look up 1 year at USC. How much is it?
Tuition, USC.
And out of state, in state, doesn't matter. Take in state so we get the lowest dollar amount, okay?
64,726.
Like I said, it's not even close to the 40,000 mark. I'm going to do 40,000. Do 40,000 times 40,000 just real quick. I already have the math, but just do it anyway.
Well, just for the senior body, right?
So you said 40,000 times 4?
No, that's all accumulated. All 4 years. The student body's 47,000. So I'm trying to figure out what they make annually.
So 40, you wanted to do
40,000 times 40,000. Yes, I already got the math, but just do it anyway.
40,000 times.
No, do it in the computer.
Oh,
Do it in the computer. Do it on your phone.
Got it.
Because we don't want to screw this up.
40,000 times 40,000. It says 1.6E9, whatever that means. I don't think my calculator can
Billion.
do the
Billion.
My phone is
Billion.
not big enough for
Billion. And if you think that that's not true, I gave you a beautiful graph in my article yesterday that showed, and you can look at Qatar, China, and other countries that have given $3.5 to $5 billion since 2012. It's not unrealistic. These
No, that's spot on.
they make ungodly amount of money.
I just want to add something because while you were doing that, I went ahead and did the math for hypothetically just the senior class. They said it was 40,000. So I just did 10,000 times the 64,000. You end up with $640 million. So 1.3 or $1.6 billion sounds spot on.
How much do they pay their professors? Holy cow.
And now understand a lot. I mean, these guys make $500,000 or $500,000 easily, these professors. And that's not speaking fees, and that's not, unbelievable. But here's the point, is I'm just looking at what they do each year, 47,000 students a year. That's what they do. In a 4-year period of time, you're looking over $4.5 billion. I didn't do a 4-year run. Folks, this is just an undergrad.
It's 1 year.
If they go and get a bachelor's degree, these schools are making. So here's what you do. You take that student body and you figure there's probably about 3,000 or 4,000 students who are protesting. You take everyone else and you say, fuck no. And you do a counter protest. And instead of doing a graduation, you do a counter protest, not for Israel, not for Palestine, so you can graduate. And you hold your own graduation and you take over the Coliseum field, which is where USC plays, and you take over the Olympic field, you go into that area, you invite your friends and family, and you say, we gave you fucking people $1.5 billion. Those 3,000 gave you guys 30 million.
Well, it's kind of like
and
what's
we're
happened to
having
the
our
US.
fucking graduation. Go ahead, Liv.
It's kind of what's happened to the U.S. right now. It's being hijacked by the 2% of want the woke culture and want the cancel culture. Most of us don't want this shit, and it's that 2% that are all up in arms, and it's holy cow.
Shit.
Wow, thank you.
Whoever you are.
Yes, whoever you are, that's absolutely
awesome.
amazing. Wow. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
You made
Thank
Matt
you
speechless,
very,
and that's really
very
hard
much.
to do.
Yeah, that's
I wish I knew who you were so I could thank you personally, but
thank you so much. Wow, that's unbelievable. We can't. Wow. Holy crap.
People
Thank
are
you.
so kind.
Yeah,
And people
it's just
are generous. You know, while we're at it, if I can just point something out, the generosity, this has been shown in study after study after study. Generosity is something that can be identified politically, and right-leaning people are far more generous, and we're seeing it here.
Oh yeah. Oh, Christians are the largest demographic of small and large contributions in the world, not just the United States, in the world. These people blow me away. You guys humble me as a person who doesn't have the capability to truly be a perfect human being, and I am not in any way, shape, or form. I can't thank you enough. And I've got my own flaws. Olivia and I got in a little tiff, and first time we've done it in months. Leroy's like, screw this, I'm married, I'm out of here, which was probably the greatest line. Called him back, said, hey, buddy, we're good now, can you come on? We all have our struggles. We all make mistakes, and we all are sinners. But if you can recognize who you are, if you can try to work through those things, people take care of you. And you guys humble me every single time. Thank you so much. That's huge. And honestly, I never want people to feel pressure. I always say it. I always will. Take care of yourself. Put your own oxygen on first, and before you try to help other people. But man, give till it feels good, not till when it hurts. I never want to be a mega church.
Hurt pretty damn good.
Yeah. Never want to do that. This person was completely anonymous, and not only anonymous.
they cloak their IP. I bet.
Yeah, they are.
They're very good at tech.
Maybe they used a VPN. I bet.
Oh. I won't say anything. I love you. Thank you. And you know who you are. You know I know who you are. That's all I'll say. You cloaked your... Hold on. Something else just happened.
It's a cloaking device.
The best dummy with the best name just liked our stream. I love her name.
What is it?
Adeline Muggleton.
I know. She has a great
I love
name.
that every single time I say I love the name.
Well, thank you for helping us hit our goal. That helps take care of everything. So I know who you are, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. But yeah, thank you. The next video that we have, this talks about what's not fair. This talks about policies that were put in place by Republicans and Democrats, right? The locking down in 2016. This one, 2020. This one is all on Democrats. You should be bringing in the National Guard. These are unpermitted protests that are not designed for civil rights. This is there's no genocide taking place in the United States. There's no Palestinians who are being persecuted in the United States. Jews are. And for people to sit here and say that there is not this large group of anti-Semites against Jews, you have not seen any hate crimes against Palestinians increase. You just haven't. Why? Because there's no such thing as Palestine. Muslims are around 9% of the hate crimes in the United States. Jews own 26% of it. So if we could just try to keep it in perspective a little bit, here's the next video that also hits home. And this one this, once again, I apologize. It's not about putting pretty girls on the net, but this one hit.
Well, now I'm offended because she's a brunette.
I want to start a life.
Just joking.
I want to do all of these
Yeah,
things.
she's
And you know
also
what
she's also
you know what
a
absolutely-
child.
I'm old enough to be her mom.
Yeah. So here we go. I want you to listen because this one bothers me.
I bet you Joe Biden dated her, though.
absolutely
Oh, totally.
My God.
Of course. Yeah. Just the right age for Joey
Too much?
Biden.
Too much?
Yeah. She might be a little old. Just saying. She can chew her food. So I don't think.
You know what absolutely sucks? That I am in my 20s right now. I'm in my 20s and I want a house. I want kids. I want to get married. I want to start a life. I want to do all of these things that seem so financially out of reach and seem like they are never going to get any better. And I was talking to my parents about this, and they're like, Taylor, it was hard for us. It's going to be hard for your kids too. But at the same time, I feel like we're in such a unique time, and I'm not even talking for just people in my age group right now. I'm talking about for everybody in the world. And I think that it's because, and this is my personal take, and maybe your personal take too, but I feel like we are playing into a hand that, all of us are playing into a hand that the government so desperately wants us to play into to make us weak. And this hand is not knowing or ignoring the fact that united we stand, divided we fall. And I feel like so many of us are jumping into a category of Republican or liberal, or I voted for this, or I voted for that, or I'm against this, or I'm against that we forgot that we're all on the same team. And we're so divided. I think we've never been more divided, especially in my country. And I think we're playing into the hand that they want us to play into. We're just walking into it. I don't know. All right.
Oh, she's sweet.
Yeah, it's terrible because it's true. Like
I'm going to disagree.
Okay, you can disagree, but the numbers, let's go over them. Last year was the first time in the United States history that we had less kids than illegal immigrants crossing the border. For the first time ever, the United States has got within 0.1% of having less than one kid per family. At this current trend, within the next 15 years, the United States and the children being born in this country will be anywhere from 0.92 to 0.96 for the average family. Japan is on the precipice within the next, by 2030, to have almost 35% of its population die. And by 2050, Japan will go below 51% of its population, elderly, will be gone. You have a house average cost in the United States is now northwards of $430,000. My first house was $230,000, and it was a freaking mansion in New Mexico. Interest rates are higher than they've ever been. And based upon inflation, the valuation of the dollar goes further than, or goes less than it ever has since the Great Depression and 1970 under Jimmy Carter.
Excuse me.
Joe Biden is proposing a 46% capital gains tax. The last time this happened, Jimmy Carter won 3 states. Banks are not lending except to the elite class. They're not doing unsecured loans like they have in the past. Credit card debt makes up over 50% of the debt of the American family. Let me put it again. 50% of the debt that Americans have is not in a home, not in a car, not in a motorhome, not in a child's future, not into a bond or a zero coupon, not into an IRA, not into stocks, but into credit cards, where the average interest rate is floating at 16.9% interest annually. You take that with the depreciation of the dollar and in the inflation rate, And that interest rate goes over 32%. Simply by looking at the dollar where it was in 2016 versus where it is now with inflation. Food is at an all-time scarcity. The average family is saving $860 a month less. So when we sit here and say that the future is bright for our children, I just went over the cars for you. And here's the real interesting part, and then I'm going to kick it over to Leroy where he can disagree, is that the jobs and the rate of getting to a middle-class pay point for you and your partner, you would start to see that turn around the age of 32, which means you had to be in the workforce for about 12 years before you started getting towards that middle-class status with getting a salary, getting a wage that was comparable to what the middle class was at. That has now moved to the average person will scratch the surface at 42 years old. 42, because companies are no longer hiring based upon experience. They're hiring based on the color of your skin. And it doesn't matter what your qualifications are. So therefore, your opportunity to get hired is less because of the color of your skin or because you pee sitting down or standing up. And the demographic has shrunk because white people are no longer the focus because of DEI, which means that 71.3% of the US population that is white or Latino is no longer considered a viable candidate for jobs, which is putting an ungodly burden on the white population in this country. Whether you find that fair or not, whether you find it overtly racist for me to say so, I don't fucking care. Those are the numbers. Leroy, I would love to hear your points.
Excuse me. First of all, kudos, right? Again, folks, this is one of those channels where we can have these debates and not let the conversation devolve into calling each other names or that's dumb or
fuck you,
like
Leroy. Fuck you.
Right. That's something that does not happen here. And I wanted to make that apparent because I'm going to address these points. What this young lady is going through right now, and believe me, I understand, but what she is feeling is the same thing that we're all feeling because it's an election year. Everything with the economy, everything with politics, everything with protests is in your face 24/7, social media, on our iPhones, on Twitter and everything else, or X, right? It's called the availability heuristic. And what it does is it introduces a bias into your head that says, oh, this is happening everywhere, when in fact it's not. It's something that's very, very focused. Now, to Matt's points on the financial stuff, I would agree with most of that. But one thing that the young lady was trying to kind of distill down to is that we are more divided than we have ever been. And I'm not sure that's true. I don't think it is. I still say that most Americans are, in fact, moderates. It's the media. It is the personalities like we saw yesterday on the show where we would allow these celebrities to come out and tell us, oh, you need to vote this way because if you don't, we're letting a dictator into the office. No, block those people out. Vote. If you do nothing more than support the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, then you're always going to be in the good, right? And right now, there is one side that is trying to preserve that, and one side that is trying to claw away at it one thread at a time, just so they can hang up an orange man from the gallows in the Times Square so that everyone can see, no, you do not step out of line, right? And we need to make sure that we vote that way. If you do nothing more than vote to support the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, you're going to be in the good. Now, again, what Matt was talking about with the financials, I would agree with all of that. Things are more bleak than they have ever been. We're paying $1 trillion. Is it a day? Is it a day, Matt? In
a trillion?
It's no a billion.
It's not a billion. A billion.
Yeah, it's $1 billion a day in interest. That is nuts. But I don't care about the immigrants that are here. If they're legal, I don't care. It's the illegal ones that I want to get frisked before they're allowed to partake in the system. Right? That's all I care about in terms of the immigrants. She is absolutely correct, though, and so is Matt, in that we are currently borrowing from future generations to fund the mistakes that are happening right now. That's the problem. That's my take on it.
That's good. I'm gonna rebut a couple of those things, but only because it has nothing to do with what you said. It has to do with what Shane Gilmore said. I believe there is a very large heightened sense in regards to we're scratching the itch right now, and it always happens during election time.
All right.
Yeah, but there's penicillin. There's something deeper than that here, which I disagree with, because you couldn't get a home in California, a place to rent. We paid $2,700 when I was 18 for our apartment and divided that by 4 people for an 800 square foot studio apartment in California. That's now happening in Oregon. It's now happening in Georgia. It's happening in Tennessee. The Californication of the United States has taken place. And it's because people have fled California to find a better life so they can ruin it for everyone else when they arrive in those towns. You're seeing an ungodly amount of destruction where we have to build up versus build out. The United States isn't building out anymore. We're building up. We're making these mega cities. And the reason why is because of zoning laws. If you want to look at election interference, take a look at zoning laws, because that's why Houston is such an amazing and diverse city, is because there are no zoning laws. You'll find a 7-Eleven next to an apartment building, next to a tech office. There are no zoning laws in Houston. And it has created very few pockets of poverty in Houston. Crime's everywhere in Houston, but it's not conglomerating in one spot. Liv, your thoughts on this, and then I want to get to the comment about why doesn't she just become a plumber and she can make $125,000 a year? I'm going to answer that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm half and half. I kind of agree halfway with her, and I kind of disagree. Yeah, it sucks right now. It really does. But she's in her early 20s, and it's a rite of passage. Everyone goes through it. We lived paycheck to paycheck. We did that. We did do you want top ramen or macaroni and cheese for dinner tonight? I did I'm going to buy $1 Dove shampoo and conditioner because I can't afford anything else. We lived paycheck to paycheck. I knew exactly to the day how late my electric and water bills could be before they got shut off, and made sure I paid them on that specific day and how much I could pay to get away with it. I knew that. It's a rite of passage. Everyone goes through that. And as we got older, we got smarter with our money, and we built our family up, and we waited to have children. We had a small wedding that cost $1,600. We didn't go out and blow everything. And we waited until we'd been married for 8 years, and we're in our 30s to have children, because we wanted to be able to give them a better life than we had, because we both grew up income deficient, and we wanted to be able to give them, income deficient. So we want to be able to give them a better life. And so we're like, we're not just going to get married, have our honeymoon, and start, throwing out some kids. We're going to wait. We're going to live our life, and we're going to get our financial situation in order. So that I disagree with. It's the very rare exception that you come out of college and you're making $250,000 a year. You get money from a parent or something, but that's very rare. You need to earn it. Mm-hmm. But I agree on the fact, I do think that we are divided.
I'll have a follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Liv, after.
Okay. I remember that when my parents, when I was younger, and when it came to elections, my parents didn't even tell me who they voted for. I didn't even know they were Republicans until I moved out of the house. I had no clue. I didn't know what it was. It was not talked about. No one talked about it. And now it's like people want to know your affiliation and your political affiliation so they can either hate you or love you for it.
Right.
I mean, that's
Right.
how this show got started, because we're conservatives and the godparents of the kids are liberal, and they didn't
That
want
was
to be a part of our
function
lives
social
anymore.
media, you know?
So it was just, that's the whole point of how this show got started. That's why it's don't unfriend me, because she blocked us. We're not friends anymore because I voted for Trump. And so that's where I agree with her on that. And it's hitting us it's hitting all of us, because I'm seeing it. I'm going, what can I take on this grocery list that we absolutely don't need? So I'm staying within our budget that we've consistently had the same budget. I've had to completely up it. I'm paying an extra $100 a week more on groceries for pretty much the same things than I was 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, you just said that, and you just said it's a rite of passage.
No, I was saying though, when we're
yeah, honey, let me rebut. Okay,
got it.
That's what we do on this show. So let me finish, and then you can tell me I'm crazy. You just said you spend $100 more a week on groceries. That's $400 a month for a family of 4. Let's assume that it's going to be not a family of 4. It's going to be a single individual. So that's $25 a week. That's $100 a month extra. Could we have afforded $100 a month extra?
No,
Ever.
we couldn't have.
Ever.
Not back then.
What would have $100 done to us when we were 20 and 19 years old? What would have $100 done to us? What would have happened if we would have had $100 debt added? What would have happened to us?
Oh, we would. I don't know. We would have had no car payment.
No,
I mean,
that's not true. We already passed on the car payments. What would have happened to us? What would you have had to do, and what would I have had to do?
More jobs. Get more jobs.
No, you would have went home, and I would have went home, and our marriage wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have had our kids. It's that serious right now. $100 for you. You're like $400, and I'm struggling. I got to decide whether I want to buy a $1 shampoo, but we're still buying steak. We're still buying chickens. We're still going ahead and having pork chops. We still eat well. We have our snacks. We are so out of the loop, all of us on this panel. And it's not that we can't relate and understand. We can, but our comparative analysis isn't even close to the same.
No,
it's gotten worse. It has gotten worse to a point where they can't even get a car, Liv.
That's true.
Some of these kids are making $800 a month. I want you to think about what it was like to make $12 an hour. Now do that in this environment. Well, what does $12 an hour get you?
Nothing.
Nothing, because after taxes, you're going to take home $56, $55 a day. How much does it cost you to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner a day in the United States? $30? $25?
Yeah, it depends on what you
I mean,
buy.
if you're grocery
okay.
shopping,
Grocery
or if you're
store.
doing fast food.
Exactly.
So when you're working 8 hours a day in a retail environment, do you really have a choice to eat so you bring your lunch? Fine. So you go get bologna, $3.39 a pack. You go get cheese, $3.50 a pack. Go get a loaf of bread, $6. Go get mustard, go get mayonnaise. Now you're talking what? Another 4 and 4. So now you've got $20 for bologna and cheese sandwiches every day. Great. So you spent $20. Now go ahead and get your lunch, your breakfast. Now go ahead and get your dinner. Just on food alone, let's just say you're spending $15 a day. Give you that. Okay, now you've got $40 left. Thank you so much. Now you got $40 left.
Right.
Now let's go ahead and do
rent,
let's just do your car payment. Let's do your car payment. On average, $750 for a used car. So let's just say you can buy a complete $2,000, $3,000 junker. So now you're spending what? $300. Then you've got car insurance, $125 a month at the best. Then you got gas. Every time you got to fill that piece of crap car up that's a gas guzzler because it's a shitty car, you're looking at spending $50 every time you fill it. There's no way kids can survive today. There was a way. There was a way, and we made it through. But we've went way past the curve of probability. And let me tell you why. There's people, and Shane's saying it, and I love it. Shane says, listen, they can go be a crane operator. They can go be a plumber. They can go be an HVAC person. You're right. But let me tell you a little story. And one of the best movies that you all know is Breakfast Club. Probably one of the best. And Anthony Michael Hall is, Farmer Ted from 16 Candles. He's in it, and Weird Science. And he is sitting here talking about, the guy has straight A's, A in science, A in history, A in English. He's a genius. He's the nerd. And he says, well, my senior year, I decide I'm just going to go ahead and take wood shop. And I'm going to take wood shop because it's easy. And Judd T. Nelson, whatever, is sitting across and goes, yeah, you know what? You found out what? It's not too easy, is it? He's like, no. We had to make this little elephant. We had to make this light. And I couldn't make the fucking light come on. And I'm getting an F. I can't get an F in woodshop. So he brings a gun and it's in his locker, and that's why he gets Saturday school. And he was going to kill himself. Not everybody can be a plumber. And to assume that everyone could be a plumber just because you consider it to be easy is completely disrespectful to the trade. Because it's not that you're a plumber and you have the skill set. It's your work ethic. It's your ability to reach out and communicate to customers. It's having a completely different mindset. And not every place like my town can have 7 plumbers, 10 plumbers. Yes, blue collar work is absolutely 100% an important option for people. And I'm all about the trades. But to assume that the trades are going to go ahead and be like the new web designers or child psychologists or sociology majors or gender studies or accounting. If you were an accountant 15 years ago, you were coming out making $250,000. If you're an accountant now, you can't work at fucking Kmart.
I could tell you that when I was working at the apartments when Hayden was just a baby, so that's 13 years ago, almost 14. And I remember a lady came in and her boyfriend was going to co-sign for her apartment because she had just gotten through a messy divorce, so her credit sucked. He was an accountant, $750,000 a year. No joke. That was his income.
Yep. Now,
and I had to check it, so I had to research it. And yeah, absolutely, $750,000 a year for an accountant. Holy cow.
And I'm almost done with my point, is that it's not that I'm not saying there's plenty of lazy people out there who, I don't want to be a crane operator. Okay, that's fine. And you can say that. But this girl graduated from US fucking C. It is one of the most prestigious colleges in the United States. And she can't find anything except a $15, $20 an hour job, which is not even going to pay the interest on her loans. I don't feel sorry for her, but I can empathize to a point where it almost is sympathy because I can't relate. There was a time where if you went to University of Southern California, that when you left, you would have a $75,000 a year job. You would be able to, that's not the way it is anymore. They're learning that it's easier to train people in the role without a degree. And this is a shift. And I understand that you're like, well, that's their fault. Well, these people 4 years ago didn't know this. So you got to have just a little bit of, if we had feelings for people who work their fingers to the bone like me, I'm a self-made man. I didn't go to college and fucking get it handed to me. I went in the military, I came out and I worked retail. And I started out at the lowest run of retail and moved up to a VP. I worked my ass off for it. And all I heard was, you don't have a degree, you can't be a VP. You don't have a degree, you can't be a VP. Well, I broke through that ceiling. So I know. But I can't do that anymore. You can't do that shit anymore. That's not the way it works.
No,
you
can't.
That's my point.
So the question, all right, to break down my rebuttal to all of this, first I wanted to ask a question that I was going to ask to both Olivia and Matt, which was that, yes, I understand. So this is kind of a two-parter question. I understand the economy and the way this poor girl feels and how tight everything is right now because of a wonderful thing called Bidenomics. But if it took 4 years to break an economy, does it take 4 years to then fix one? That's my first question.
No, absolutely not.
It's take longer.
All right, let me finish. So that's my first point.
Well, then don't ask the question. Then wait a second. Then don't ask. You asked. Of course, we're going to answer it now. Do we want us to write this down? Hold on. Let me get a piece of paper.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, but I don't need to take notes. Unlike some people, I've never needed to. But if you'd like us to answer or write it down, just say, hey, just think about this or something, because we're going to answer right now. That's all. Do you want us just to think about it?
No, go right ahead.
No. We answered your question. The answer is no, it's going to take longer.
I think it's going to take
Olivia
longer.
said the same thing.
Because, I mean, I wasn't alive when I was alive when Carter was president. I was, 8 months old when Reagan was elected. But, I mean, didn't he have a really, really shitty economy?
We answered it. Just, no. Yeah. I just wanted to know if you wanted our answer. Yes, it's going to take longer. Yeah. That's our answer. Okay, good.
All right.
Go ahead.
And the second part of this, and this was more of an accolades type thing, because I wanted to point this out. What Matt was talking about was a theoretical $12, rough wage. And I wanted to say that I appreciate that, because most people will immediately resort to the minimum wage argument or the living wage argument. And I hate that argument because it's dumb. The fact of the matter is, somebody coming out of college like this, are they being duped? Are we going down the Mike Rowe kind of argument here to basically say, have these kids been sold a bill of goods that is not going to yield them anything in the future, or that it may just not yield as much? And is that in current competition with the way the economy is and how fast it's spiraling down the drain? So there's a lot of moving parts there. I just wanted to say I appreciated that, because it wasn't, I often hear that it's, oh, you can't live on $7.25 an hour. And that's not the argument.
Yeah. I think when people listen, when you make extraordinary circumstances, you better have extraordinary burden of proof. And that's the problem, is people come out with these extraordinary, grandiose examples and go, oh, well, Joe Rogan doesn't have a college degree, so he's going to, Dana White doesn't have, and he's a CEO.
Sure. I don't have one.
But that doesn't address 20 million college grads. Not everyone's going to create a UFC. Not everyone can create their own penis showing game, as we talked about last night from the movie Waiting. So I think it's fine to use those crazy examples. Then let me ask you a question. If that's true, then why aren't you the CEO of UFC? Well, that's why. Because there's only so many Elon Musk. There's only so many Steve Jobs. And a long enough timeline, you can look at the decisions people make. And if we had alternate time loops, Steve Jobs would be a fucking garbage man in one life and a CEO in the next. So let's not pretend that Steve Jobs was so much smarter than everyone else. Steve Jobs was a master marketer. While everyone was getting their marketing degree, he was already excellent at it, and he took advantage of it. Then everyone went and took marketing, and then they made great money until it oversaturated the market. The same thing happened with accounting. The same thing happened with physical therapists. The same thing happened to physical education teachers, okay? There were jobs that, and computer programming. All of a sudden, then you have a plethora of 10 million computer programs and not enough jobs. This happens. That's why college is a lagging indicator. Steve Jobs said, fuck this. I'm dropping out. I have a good enough knowledge of marketing, and I'm going to go crush it while people spend 6 years getting their extended degree, while I'm going to have 6 years of advanced knowledge. That's what I did. I dropped out and recognized that the retail industry was transferring to salary wages versus commission. So I learned the commission sales game, and then I knew how to implement it and hire people to get excited about sales by making $1 an hour wage. I was ahead of the curve, and I advanced. I was $1 million fucking salesman at 21 years old, 3 months into the business. I sold $1 million in 3 months. I used to bring home checks, Olivia can tell you, $20,000 from Ultimate Electronics when it first started. And then all of a sudden it dropped out because they dropped commission. You got to play ahead of the game. The last thing I'm going to say, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you're good.
The last thing I'll say about it is you can sit here and say you can't say living wage, and I agree, because there's no such thing as a living wage. But you must go ahead and calculate a couple of things into the wages of people. Let me give you an example. In Bakersfield, California, we paid lead geniuses $27 an hour. In Bakersfield, California, that can get you $1 million house. Let me say it again. Making $27 an hour as a lead genius, you can get $1 million house because you're only paying $350,000 for it in Bakersfield, one of the highest crime cities in California. Now, if you go ahead and you try to move to Silicon Valley, you can get a $10 million house, but you're going to have to be making $500 to $600 to $700 an hour to get that house. Cost of living and cost of wage need to be considered. So in Bakersfield, California, same amount of work, same amount of volume, and you go move into greater Los Angeles, we paid those guys $62 an hour for the same job.
Ooh.
And the reason why is because of cost of living. So when you decide I'm going to go ahead and do a job, what you do, people, and this young generation, where I will get on them, is they want to live in Santa Barbara, California. They want to live in Carpinteria. They want to live in Paso Robles, or they want to live on Huntington Beach in California and go and make $25 an hour and expect a quality of life that they will never achieve. That's your fault. And people need to have a reasonable expectation. Go ahead.
That reminds me of when we were in California. and people were looking at you and contacting you all the time. And there was some company up in, I think, Oakland that I can't remember. And they were like, we want to make you VP. And we're like, oh, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Okay, we want to get out of
the coffee
Bakersfield.
place.
Oh yeah, we want to get out of Bakersfield. I mean, they're totally talking Matt up. And then the salary, $100,000.
Yeah, $100,000
And they
a
wanted
year.
us to move to Oakland. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me, right? I'm like,
It wasn't
we're
Oakland.
not.
It wasn't Oakland.
It was somewhere up in that area.
it was San Francisco.
Yeah, okay, it was
and I'm
somewhere.
like, okay, the average, the rent in San Francisco is $100,000 a year for a 2-bedroom.
I'm like, I'm like, really? I'm like, we're in a 3,500 square foot home with property and a backyard for my kids to play in. And I'm like, and you want me to move up there where I'm going to get a 600 square foot 1-bedroom apartment with no yard? No, thank you. And they couldn't understand why we said no.
That really says quite a bit about like the ability for someone who recognizes their own talent, who recognizes their own worth, to accept or decline a position based on whatever the extended offer is.
Yeah. And then don't bitch.
This goes right back to that girl and something that you had said about Steve Jobs. People make this mistake all the time of saying, Steve Jobs was a genius. He dropped out of college. Steve Jobs invented nothing.
Nothing. Ever.
Nothing.
Nothing.
All he did was figure
steal
out
it.
how to package a a camera lens, a digital camera lens, which had already been invented, GPS, which had already been invented by the Air Force, couple that to the internet, which had already been invented. All he did was figure out, he laid on his engineers to say, put this into one package and I think we can sell it. That's all he did. And that's what college is. All college is, it will either train you to do something academically or it will give you ideas. In Steve Jobs' case, it gave him enough ideas to push through with something and make something of it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, your worth will either be calculated in your manual labor, your academic know-how of something, or ideas.
That's it.
One of those three. And if you're an idea person, you should be a CEO.
Quickly, Terry and I were talking about this today, and I was frustrated today. And Terry is the owner and CEO. What? Wait a second. You don't know what happened. Don't do that. You don't get to do that. You don't know what happens behind the camera. No. I get enough of that, right? Cute, beautiful girl is perfect, and grumpy guy with a beard is always wrong. I don't know. Sorry. Not going to do that. Don't appreciate it.
I'm always
No. I you know what? And so am I, because I'm married. So I'm always wrong. I haven't been right in 25 years, and sometimes it gets a little tiresome. That's all. Sometimes a man needs to bark, okay? That's what we do. I'll pay for that for a week. But compared to 3 months ago, my frustration level is much lower. But here's the thing. Was frustrated today because the DUM Club is struggling to get going. And Leroy, I'm not busting balls. I'm just there's times to So
I got you.
There's times to be, you're down on yourself. There's times where you're going to be up. Today was one of those days where I'm just like, God darn it, we're not moving the goalposts, right? And I want to get to where we want to be, but it's so hard when Facebook undercuts us. And now I've got to recreate an entire channel on a place where they're just really getting started and they haven't quite gotten there. So I'm helping other channels build their promos and build their videos. I mean, for God's sakes, this is actually 2 very popular weightlifters. And when I say popular, I mean freaking huge popular, millions of followers on YouTube. And I'll answer your question. Well, I got to make sure I can release this, because if they can come to release this, that they're on Spreely. I think they're live. Let me make sure. I'm checking right now. As long as they're on there, I can release names. Yep. Mark Lobliner and Alan Roberts. And when you see their pictures, you'll know who they are. Yeah. So here it is.
know, you have such a talent with this stuff. God, that looks good. Getting a little bit
So
of the Bugatti badge vibe right there. I like
it was actually Thundercats and Iron Man. So that was my influence, but very close. But anyway, so that's the intro. So, you know, we're trying to help these other big names come in here, and Terry is really leaned on me to help, you know, build graphics, and there's other podcasters who want to come in, and he wants me to help with the other shows to kind of build our brand and make it look like the Don't Unfriend Me show. Because let's face it, Don't Unfriend Me show looks fucking awesome, and everyone says it looks awesome because we put a lot of work into it. So my point is nothing new, but to Leroy's point, we're changing the aesthetics to look professional, cameras and sound to act that way. And even if the content isn't as rich as it should be, it still gets people to look at it and go, oh my gosh, you know? So what I'm saying is that's what Steve Jobs did. He repackaged it. He made sure he made it a secured system. He had goals to do things. Garmin was a huge nav company. And what he did is he went and stole the top engineers from IBM, the top engineers from Garmin, the top engineers from Microsoft, and brought them in and then berated them into success. He was he would tear them apart. I've told you guys the story about the iPad. Steve Jobs broke over 150 iPads over his knee during every briefing that they would come in once a week, and they would brief them on the status of what they were creating. And he would grab it and he'd be like, too slow, shoot, break it. Battery's not long enough, break it. The screen looks like shit, break it. This button doesn't work, the fonts look like shit. And he would berate people into success. And even though he was one of the hardest people to work for ever, it was one of the most satisfying because you would do your life's best work. That was a guaranteed thing at Apple. When you came to Apple, that was what we said. From the moment you walk in the door, you're going to do your life's best work. And there is no doubt in my mind, I did my life's best work at Apple. There's no doubt. Want to show a video here. We're going to close it out on, I think we're going to close it out on this. Let me see. Yes, we are. This will be a good, oh, you know what? I got two. Here's a quick one. I want to do this. Everyone is playing this video. And it's 8 minutes, and I'm not going to sit here and play the whole damn thing. I'm just going to show you the first minute. And everyone's saying the military is doing black ops. They're going in and they're going to start taking people hostage, and they're doing what the Nazis are doing and rounding up dissenters. Okay, Leroy and I are going to tell you what this is in about 60 seconds. Okay.
How many people were in that?
You had 8, but that's pretty standard for a squad. And you saw them. So type of helo, I know Leroy knows.
It's a SH60. I already said. Yeah.
SH60. Well, I couldn't hear you because the video was playing in my ear. So SH60, and there's UH60s, SH60s. You have the Seahawk. You have variants depending upon the mission and what they do. That one also had did you guys see the extremely long
nozzle in front?
You want to tell them what that nozzle is?
So that's the refueling probe. Some SH60s are designed so that they can refuel in air. It's actually very dangerous.
Yes, especially with their prop wash. Prop wash is a huge concern when you're refueling, and usually a plane takes a refueling vehicle will take the underneath position on most refuels. It's not; they're usually level or slightly above those KC-10s. With refueling, when it comes to using a Sea King or another type of refueler, helo or a aircraft, it is usually coming underneath or prostrate, excuse me. I always get those mixed up, to the refueled aircraft. It's very dangerous. Hose can come up in prop wash. They're unstable. Helicopters are renowned for losing stability. It's not an easy thing to do. The other thing you see is you also have a Cobra that was there. That was the Cobra. Let me explain what's happening. You're not going to send a Cobra in with an SH-60. SH-60 will be alone, and you usually have a high-altitude aircraft, or that Cobra or the aircraft will be up in the air observing. That's a training mission.
Yep.
More than likely special operations. They do it all the time. They go into undisclosed city. If you look down below, there's several uniformed police officers maintaining. They're going in, doing a breach and clear. They've got a unit up in that area that is hostile, and then they're doing a training mission. So everyone's saying that this is an invasion, it's the UN, it's the New World Order. This happens all the time. It happens in Los Angeles. It's a QRF team. It's a quick jump team. That's what it is. Go ahead.
Literally one like that happened behind my house. I have an airport. It's a couple blocks away. I actually love having the airport there. But literally that thing just happened last week in my own backyard. Nobody thinks anything of it because it's just training, standard training.
Did you do the Phantom of the Opera?
You guys may think that this is from a magazine, or I mean, it looks like a magazine, right? And it looks like a magazine, but
it looks good.
This is
color that.
This is Beauty and the Beast, and this is Phantom of the Opera. This is Hayden's artwork and where she's so going. Good. Is that not ridiculous?
So good.
Yeah. So Dad's talent comes out again. She's gonna be an artist, and she already is an artist, and she's gonna be very successful. But that is not what you think. It's a training mission, and it happens all the time. You do fast rope. You go in. You drop some flashbangs. You saw the SH-60 drop a trail of flashbangs from underneath, and that's for RPG fire. That is to disorientate anyone on the ground who is using an RPG or using any type of weapon to target that, or using a high caliber weapon or a mobile 50 cal or whatever it would be. So they drop a line of flashbangs on the ground too to disorientate at certain levels. All of this is training. Relax, people. Here's the last video. Hayden, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
This was Morning Joe. And you guys know I love Morning Joe. I love to make fun of this Yahoo.
Implicated in the immunity question.
This is a guy outside. Did you see this, Leroy?
No, I didn't.
This is Ken Dillanin. And I've seen him on MSNBC.
He looks like somebody who would bleach his beehole.
He's a Justice and Intel correspondent. So whatever the fuck that means. What is a Justice and Intel correspondent? Whatever. But I want you to listen to what happens here while he's live. And of course, Joe is really pissed off because this guy's Joe's temper is horrible. But look who he's married to. Here it is.
And by not taking it on an expedited basis, sort of taking it under regular order here, they've already created a significant delay here that means that this election case, however they rule, can't go to trial probably before the fall. And now we come to exactly what they're considering here, which is the question of whether a president has absolute immunity. And then there's a second question here, which is whether anything that Donald Trump is accused of would actually constitute a presidential act implicated in the immunity question. Yeah.
Just making sure you're okay. Is everything okay? We hear someone yelling.
Yeah, it's fine. We have a heckler here outside.
I've got to say, they obviously have been following the David Pecker testimony. They're yelling fake news, and they obviously want viewers to know that Donald Trump lied about JFK's
That's what they want,
assassination, tried to blame blame Ted Cruz. He's yelling fake news also because Donald Trump lied along with David Pecker. They worked together to lie about Ben Carson, to lie about Hillary Clinton. Fake news all around. So I want to thank him for actually
framing it
for us. We want to make sure you're okay, but also we want everybody watching to know that that person screaming fake news, obviously talking about all the lies that Donald Trump perpetrated about Hillary Clinton and all of his opponents in 2020. Go ahead.
You got it.
Yeah, talk
you got
about
it.
It's always great when somebody it's always amazing when somebody perpetuates fake news while someone's shouting fake news. I mean, this is exactly what the fucking guy's talking about. I gotta be like, dude, that's fucking fake news, bro. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your fake news. You're an absolute George Scarborough. You're a douche plow. Quickly, Amy, your son's going to Japan. What part of Japan? Yokosuka, Okinawa, Yokohama. Where's he going? Yeah, well, Yokosuka is the biggest. I'm interested to hear. Let me know, Amy. Where's he going to Japan? I think it's hilarious that these uppity news types think that you have some right to peace and quiet when all you shout for is to obstruct and to violate people's privacy by shouting them down and screaming. You taught people to do this. This is what you guys celebrate. You tell people, go get in the restaurant. You go get in their faces. This is what you guys...
At the gasoline station.
You guys do this shit, and then you get surprised when people do it. Leroy, is there any chance or any hope for the media ever in the future? Do we ever anticipate that the Fourth Estate will get back to their roots of Dan Rather and Walter Cronkite, or is it just hopelessly fucking gone?
I think it's hopelessly gone. I think at this point in the game that each station has their targeted demographic, the people that they're trying to serve, the people that they're trying to sell to, right? And let's face it, when you tune into a channel, right, when you log in and you're watching MSNBC or whoever the F, right, they've got you on the hook for just long enough to get you to the next commercial. And that's really what it's about. It's about ratings and those commercials. That's the whole point, right? And in between there, if anybody's ever seen the movie, it's called Nightcrawler. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal. And he plays this camera, this really, really slime ball kind of guy who's filming certain news stories in a particular area, and I want to say it's like Los Angeles. And at the very beginning of the movie, you're like, all right, maybe he can make some money doing this. Seems pretty legit. And then things get progressively slimier. And one of the co-stars in the movie is Renee Russo, and she nails it right out of the gate. She's like, if it bleeds, it leads, right? They are there to sell a product. They want the hottest story as fast as they can. And each station is working for that very same thing, be it ABC, NBC, Fox, whoever. So I think it is. I think we're hopelessly gone until each station can figure out if they want to realign their demographic values.
Liv, what do you think? News media completely helpless and done, or is there anything that we could do to redeem it? Is there a station that's impervious to this swamp-infested bullshit and care more about their viewers than ratings?
I would like to think so, but I don't know. Not until they're not all owned by the same Democratic liberal people, because that's what they're owned by, and that's all they care about. They don't care about spreading the truth. They just care about getting their narrative out.
Good enough. Absolutely agree. Amy says Yokosuka. It's not Yokosuka. It's not Yokosuka. It's Yokosuka. Here's two things. Never, ever marry the base Japanese women. The base Japanese women have been tossed more times than a seaweed salad. You must go away from the base women if you're looking to date a Japanese girl. You must go to Roppongi. You tell him that. Roppongi is where he wants to go. It's expensive. When I was there, a single Budweiser was $12.
Oh, my God.
So the trick is you go to the vending machine right outside the base. There is a Navy bar that's right there that has the best gyoza and the best pitchers of beer, Kirin Dry,
and a wonderful foosball table with American music. Yes, the Spice Girls, Elvis Presley, Metallica, it's all there. Best Navy bar. You leave the main base, you go down one street, and you take a right. It's right there. You can get Habasaki there, which is sake with rattlesnake venom, 1 drop in the entire bottle, and it slow processes your liver. That's a dangerous way to do that. So what you want to do is directly from there across the street is a vending machine. You can buy edible panties in there, which are pre-used women's underwear if you are into that kink. If you're not, right next to that vending machine is cans, 64 ounces of something called Chuhai, which is an apple liqueur. It's like a wine cooler, but it's got more of a bite. It's like a hard cider, but it's made with green apples. It is the most delicious thing, but the alcohol content is actually a lot higher than the average beer. Average beer is 3.2 or 6.4, whatever the fuck it is. This is like 34.5. This is like getting a bottle of vodka or a low-end whiskey. You buy Chuhai, buy 2 of those, and you drink them up on the train in a brown paper bag, because you can drink in public, but you got to put it in a paper bag. And once you get to Roppongi, which is like a 45-minute train ride into Tokyo, outside of Tokyo, you'll be nice and warmed up to go ahead and have your 1 or 2 beers. If you're going to get a girl to marry her, you better speak some Japanese. Otherwise, all he's going to do is get his tip dipped, and that's about it. Because if you don't speak Japanese, they're not going to, unfortunately, give you the time of day. All right. Any questions?
I will also add, while he's there, he is going to do some amazing things. Make sure that you relay to him that he carves out just enough time to climb Mount Fuji. It's one of those things that you're only going to be able to do once while you're there, because once that opportunity is gone, you will never get it back.
And he will visit. He will do Fuji. You got to take the bullet train too. I climbed Fuji. I did the bullet train. He has to go to Hokkaido, which will be actually his ship will go to Hokkaido. 7th Fleet will go there. You got to go to Okinawa, which you will go to Okinawa, and you got to be with all the Marines, just whatever. But you've also got to see Nagasaki. You got to see Hiroshima. You've got to go do those things. And then, of course, he'll see South Korea. He'll see Russia. He'll see Australia. He'll see the French Polynesian Islands, Malaysia, Sumatra. You probably will get over to India. The 7th Fleet sees some of the greatest spots in the world, and it is gorgeous and it's awesome. But just understand, Japan is amazing. In fact, some of the greatest food ever is in the alleys. Now, you never want to eat alley food in New York, but some of the best chicken skewers and beef skewers are in Japan, and you really can't get beef in a large quantity unless you want to spend some money in Japan, because cattle is a luxury. But when you go to McDonald's, they don't have quarter pounders. It's actually Mekadodnos is the name of the name.
Mekadodnos?
Mekadodnos. It's Japanese for McDonald's. But they don't have quarter pounders. They have teriyaki burgers, which is essentially a chicken teriyaki, and it's one of the greatest hamburgers you've ever had. They also have different robust flavors than McDonald's.
Did you ever have that? It's a white citrusy soft drink. It's called Kalpis. Did you ever have that?
I don't think so. No.
It's really good. That's popular there too.
Yeah, Chuhai was that had alcohol in it. That's all we did, and we would stop off at the Navy bar and get a pitcher of beer before we go out and hit. But the great thing about Japan is, like, you don't even need to leave Yokosuka. There is so much to frickin' do in Japan. I mean, it's amazing, and they treat Gaishin there amazingly. They're all scared of you, and if he's over 6 foot, he'll get along just fine. Everyone, like, he'll never have anyone crunch into him on the subway, because they'll keep a 3-foot ring around him because he's Gaijin. I love Japan. I think it's a beautiful. Tokyo is breathtaking. It's extremely safe. But if you ever run into some guys on motorcycles, you might want to just go ahead and stay away, because those are Japanese Yakuza and mobs, and you want to stay away from those people. But otherwise, it's completely safe. He should have fun. Last video, then we are really done. I got to play this one. This is in Austin, Texas, our old stomping grounds. I want to show you this because this is the most ridiculous thing. The city of Austin.
Barton Creek Greenbelt. And
this
down
is
towards the bottom.
God darn it. This is Barton Creek. I was here in 2000 and I think 18 or 19 with Comcast when I went down to speak to Dan Crenshaw. And this was Yeah, this was when Comcast was going through net neutrality, and we went down and spoke to the Capitol building. And this creek is a common place where people go down to. It has been completely taken over by homeless. The Austin city will not clean this up because they said it is detrimental to endangered species to clean it. That it would take away their habitats.
What?
And it would take away their stuffing for their nests and other things, that cleaning it up. So they have continued to do this. I just want to let you know, these are the people. Remember Democrats who say they care about women, but they go ahead and murder them in the womb?
They care about the environment, and then they do this shit.
Yeah, and they have protests that leave tons and tons of garbage and Occupy Wall Street and all the other bullshit that they've done. And they also say they care about black people, but they literally keep them in indentured servitude for 75 years in the inner cities and allow them to kill themselves and tell them that the only way to survive is to either have more children or abort them. Yeah, this is the Democrats. Look at this shit.
That is unbelievable. You know what?
We're down towards the bottom.
Hold on, let's listen to the guy, man.
We're out here on the Barton Creek Greenbelt, and we're down towards the bottom. I haven't been to this portion yet, but look at this. We're about 600 feet down from the top. This is insane, and it just keeps going and going and going. Oh, man. The city will never get this cleaned. We're out here.
Go ahead, Leroy, and then Liv.
I was just going to say, it almost looks like somebody like if you had an environmentalist go in there and try to make the case that, this needs to be cleaned up. And then you have the city that is basically saying, no, we can't do that because it's it's going to become a problem for some of the endangered species or whatever the fuck that argument was. I'm really struggling with, does everyone not see how much red tape there is bad? I can make the minimum wage argument all day long to prevent against this kind of thing. But at the end of the day, you should have inspectors, fire commissioners, somebody going in there and saying, look, this is a problem and it needs to be handled. Otherwise, somebody is going to end up getting hurt or worse, killed.
I wonder how many bodies are underneath that rubble.
Oh,
Here's the thing. Just a little bit of lighter fluid and a well-placed match at a particular time of year in Texas would take care of that problem immediately. I mean, endangered species or not, it would fix the problem. Liv, your thoughts? This is Texas, and as we both know, there is a very big difference between El Paso and real Texas, and San Antonio and real Texas, and Dallas and real Texas.
There's a reason we stayed out of Austin.
And Austin, real Texas. What are your thoughts?
It's sickening, and it's so sad. I mean, we care about the environment. We have to turn everything green, all electric vehicles, watch your carbon footprint. But this shit, what? How is that protecting the environment?
Yeah.
This is just one of the most asinine, hypocritical things I've ever heard in my entire life. This is just stupid. I mean, it just shows you how far freaking out there liberals and Democrats are. Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's just insane. And in Austin, 20 years ago was one of the most beautiful, up and coming, gorgeous cities. I mean, Austin city limits was a gem, skyline, and just, it was beautiful. And it's a shithole. The last time I went to Austin, it was really starting to get, the homeless was up, and the progressive DAs are going in there. They don't charge with the crime. The Capitol building had spray paint on the side of it, not cleaned up, and it looks like Philadelphia now. It's just a shithole. So, Democrat cities, this is what you get. Leroy, thanks for coming back on, and thanks for tolerating the Spear family argument that took place. Thanks for being who you are. You get your 1 minute, and then Liv, then I'll sign off.
Well, we covered a lot of ground today, right? And we covered several really interesting videos. I don't need a minute, but I will say this. This is the best formatted show I have ever seen. So when Matt is talking about the work that he's putting into the other channels on Spreely TV, by the way, shout out to Spreely TV. You guys are awesome. Thank you for what you do. and for these other shows that we see up and coming, and the graphics and the way all of that is being stitched together by Matt, it's just amazing. There's some serious talent there. And on top of that, I love the format. These people are my friends. They're my family. And I'd do anything for them. So I really see this. You know, I was watching, just to make a point, I was watching, I think it was Bill Burr on with, who's that bald guy? Joe Rogan. He was on with Joe Rogan.
That's a bloated question.
Not me. And he was talking about like when young artists sell on to some stations, and these stations that go to sell them on these package deals are like, you can sell 30 million records if you do this, versus if they just owned the product themselves and kept it 100%. Right. Did you see, you know which one I'm talking about, right? Okay. And so I respect that. And I see that is the exact road that Matt is doing, right? It's slow, steady growth with 100% positive control on the steering of the channel and where it should land. And I see some of the other work that's being put out for other channels. And just a quick bravo, Zulu, because it looks fantastic. And I just wanted to say that.
And it's so hard not to, like, you guys got to understand, this is like, I want you to imagine you're about ready to go on an LA forum, and you've got 70,000 people chanting Guns N' Roses, and you got somebody like Axl Rose who just fucking speedballed, heroin, and he passes out for 2.5 hours as they're trying to resuscitate his ass, and the crowd is sitting in 103-degree weather, and they're just so pissed, and Axl Rose comes out, vomits on stage, and then cancels the show. That is not a good thing for your brand. And then you got the other guy who grinds out the music in the local theater, the local clubs, and the local hole in the walls, and doesn't sell out to corporate. And then that guy finally gets a job to open for a band in front of 20,000 people at a fair. And he pops a string on his guitar 30 seconds before the show. And he gets hot, and he's, where's my fucking, and because he cares. When I get frustrated with a show, when something bad happens, I have severe ADHD, and it doesn't distract me anymore, but it makes me I go red. And when you're looking at Myers-Briggs, people are categorized into green, yellow, red, and blue. Blue is more of an analytical mind. Green is emotional. Yellow is more of like the social party guy. And red is like the fucking directive alpha male. When I get stressed, I turn into alpha. And I don't know who anyone is. I don't care who you are. If you're distracting me, I'm just going to tell you, shut the fuck up. And Leroy's heard this 100 times. And I'll even jokingly say, Leroy, shut up now. And he's, okay.
I've heard it. I've heard it, folks.
It's not personal. It's who I am, and it's the person I am. But I'm also the guy who'll put my arm around you and tell you I love you, and I tell you I'm sorry afterwards. I care about this show. Yes, I care about this show. I care about the results. I want it to be good. I want it to be perfect. And unfortunately, I've learned that I can't make it perfect every time. So I have to learn, and I've learned over the last 3.5 years, it's just sometimes you just got to do the show and realize that shit happens. Tonight was not one of those nights. It was one of those stressful times. So to my co-host, but also more importantly, when I talk and I get frustrated, it's to the co-host level, but to my friends, to my wife, to my loving family, I can't always be wrong, but in some cases I can always learn from my mistakes. So I apologize for getting a little grumpy because I wasn't wrong tonight. I'm sorry. I'm not going to take that. But I could.
This will go down like chocolate cake.
What did you say?
This will go down like chocolate cake.
What does that mean?
Hayden,
I've never
chocolate
heard
cake.
that
The
one.
chocolate cake argument.
What is it?
Where who gave Hayden the chocolate cake on her 4th birthday?
Oh yeah, because Olivia is so pretty.
No, I've done that.
It means she can be wrong, and that is. Listen, I know my faults. Egotistical, yes. Arrogant, yes. Abrasive sometimes, yes. But just because Liv's pretty doesn't mean that she can't be, it doesn't mean she can't say the one thing that'll go into your brain and you know what she's saying and nobody else does. And you're like, but look what she did. And everyone's like, she did nothing. She's perfect. She's so pretty. It's like,
She is perfect.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
I hold the power.
All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Liv, you have any finals?
I just want to say thank you to all the donations tonight.
It's unbelievable.
Especially to the Anon, whoever you are.
Anonymous
really
one. Oh my God. That was
I
huge.
really, really appreciate it.
It's unbelievable. Tomorrow, this is what we have going on. You got Ethan's baseball game, but at 12 noon Eastern Standard, we are bringing in everyone on Zoom. The invitation should have went out to everybody. I invited all the DUM Club members. Hopefully you all have it. We'll see you guys at noon. And we're going to be on for an hour. And honestly, I think Olivia and I are just going to kick back. We're just going to show up how we show up. And the conversation is completely dependent upon you. It has nothing to do with any format. We're not going to be talking about politics. We're just going to have a conversation. We've known each other for years. We might as well just get to know each other. If you want to be on camera, great. If you don't, that's fine. If you want to be a part of that, it's not too late. You can join the DUM Club by going to thedumclub.com. Also pick up some cool shirts, some hats, things like that. I want to thank Leroy because I love him to death. I appreciate him.
I also want to thank Thomas for the hat because it's a really cool hat, but our last name's not plural and he can't throw us.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Can we say that? It's why is it does anyone ever call you Leroy Jenkins?
Right? No.
Nobody.
No one
does anyone? Does it? Okay. We got Amy Bordeaux. Does anyone ever call you Amy Bordeaux's? Cat? Do they call you Cat Alcars? Mel Lowe. Do they call you Mel Lowe's? Why the fuck does everyone pluralize my name? I'll tell you.
Spears.
That bitch Britney Spears. It's
It
her.
is.
They spell my. They never
forever.
scarred me forever. They never spelt my name wrong. Number one. It was always Speer, and they never pluralized me. But everyone does because of that bitch. And I'm telling you, I call her that because she ruined my last name. It is Spear, Speer, and no, I'm not plural.
Real quick.
You can't throw us.
For the thing tomorrow, I have a ceremony that I am the MC of for a retirement ceremony. I will be in full uniform. I am 99% sure, that I can't wear the whole thing though. Regulations state that you can't have the lapel cover up more than 3/4 of the top row of your rack or half of your rack. And I can't do that. So I just have to wear my top 3. Anyway, long story short is I will be able to attend, but I may be limited in function. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh, well,
so if I look different, if I look shaved, that's why.
You're more than welcome to show. If you can't, that's fine too. Someone said Matt is brash.
Always like a man in uniform, Leroy.
Oh boy, here we go.
I got you.
I am brash, but I think it's important for people to understand there's a reason for it. But that's a whole nother conversation. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. I appreciate everybody. Thanks for watching the Donut and Friendly Show. Go Colorado Avalanche. Big game tonight, even though Leroy thinks hockey's stupid, according to Leroy.
Hockey's dumb. So dumb.
What?
My respect level just dropped from here to here.
I don't care. I don't care.
Okay. He watches the WNBA. What do you expect? So he's...
I never watched any of those. I will tell you that there are relatively few sports that I will watch, take time to watch. MMA is one of them. Quarter mile drag racing, absolutely. But shit like, I don't know, like the fighting in hockey is all right, but I could fall asleep at a football game or at a baseball game. It just does nothing for me. I don't know why.
Wow.
That's how I am.
You're a rare breed of man that doesn't like sports.
Yeah,
don't I know it?
I'm questioning the man thing. Thomas says, I'll send Olivia one as well. Black or red? Do you want black or red? Liv, hat.
Black, sure.
You don't want to wear red on Red Friday?
I don't know.
You just get a black hat, but whatever. And she wears a small to medium.
Tiny. Honestly, I've got like a baby head, so it's got to be adjustable. Otherwise, they don't fit me. Seriously, my head's tiny.
And my head's huge.
Yeah,
like this
bigger hats than me.
Like this XL is like cutting off my head. Like I'm gonna have a ring around my head. And all right. Good night, folks. Leroy, hey buddy, thanks for coming back. We love you. We appreciate you.
Love you, Leroy.
See you guys. Bye.
Have a great night.
Good night,
y'all.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.